Your local civil defense presents Damage Survey for Rescue Workers. They'll never feature this home in House Beautiful. Once a credit to our neighborhood, now just a maze of rubble, a battered victim of blast. And maybe inside the shattered walls are people. People our rescue team has come to locate and drag from this debris and rubble. But before the team can go into this house to search for casualties, a damage survey must be made. That survey for safety may go a long way in saving the lives of our rescue team and the trapped people inside. Dan and I were picked for this damage survey because we're the most experienced construction men on the rescue team. We're moving fast, all right, but you can bet we're being deliberate. We begin on the outside, searching at key points for signs of further collapse. Inside and out, we're going to spot places that must be stabilized before our teammates can do its rescue job. I'm looking for bulges in the wall, breaks and fractures along the ground or foundation lines. Dan watches for similar things near the doors and windows, while I make certain the whole structure isn't twisted or racked out of line. Any loose hanging stuff? Gutters, window shutters, chimneys, cornices? How about that roof, Dan? Think it'll have to be shored before our teammates can work safely? Yes, our particular house is mostly standing. But suppose we were up against a completely collapsed structure. In that case, Dan and I would still circle the perimeter. We'd know that even in a total wreck, there are ways to identify the position of floors, walls, or roof. We'd keep our eyes peeled for large portions of the building sticking out of the debris. Once a major item was recognized, giving us a clue to the layout, we'd be able to figure out the most likely location of casualties and the quickest and least hazardous path into the rubble to reach them. Or suppose a building seems to be only slightly damaged. Dan and I still can be sure everything's really okay. Maybe there's a hidden joker, a wall right on the verge of collapse. So we still work just as carefully and thoroughly. Sure, sometimes they look okay on the outside, but inside it may be a death trap. Maybe it needs bracing. Maybe the basement's flooded with gas or water, and we're going to need pumps. Got to think fast and got to think right. But those were other places, other times. Right now, it's this place, and we're moving in to take a gander through the doors and windows. Sometimes a window is safer to enter than a door. A tightly wedged door may be supporting a floor joist right on the edge. Force it, and oh, brother, the whole thing comes down like a stack of cards. Okay, we're on our way inside now. Inside to do the rest of the damage survey job. But we're armed with more than helmets and belt first aid kits. We're armed with background information. Let me tell you how we got it. You see, Dan and I, in our rescue training, actually studied the different types of building construction throughout our city. We believe in having this information in advance. What hazards can we expect in addition to structural collapse? Chemicals? Gas? Heavy machinery? Elevator shafts? Also, we know that although most rescue people understand how a building is erected, they don't always know how it will collapse from blast and what situations will face the rescue team. It's open and shut. The more you know about types of buildings, how they'll collapse, and types of building damage, the better job you'll do. This knowledge may save your life, prevent further injury or even death to a trapped casualty. Give trained rescue workers the know-how of doing the job faster, reducing hazards all the way. Let's get down to cases. Even in the simplest type building, there's a relationship between structural parts. The foundations or footings bear the weight, and the floors and roof tie it together. Walls that support a floor above bearing walls we call them, may be found on any floor. Blast may weaken or dislocate any one of these parts, and then, presto, you've got a tumbling chain reaction. Knowing characteristics of structures gives you an insight into possible places where people may be trapped and still be safe. We call them voids. It's one of the real keys to rescue. This is how voids happen. Blast may distort standing framework, and the floors, walls, ceilings, and roof of framed or unframed structures may get dislocated. So you can end up with various types of collapse, like the lean-to, or the V or horizontal pancake type. The spaces left are voids. No matter how bad the collapse is, you'll likely find some voids, because even furniture or plumbing may support collapses and form additional voids. And that's where people may be trapped, waiting and praying for the rescue team. So it all comes down to a knowledge of structures themselves. For instance, frame structures, buildings in which a framework of wood, steel, or concrete carries the weight of floors, walls, or roof. Look at some examples. Number 1, a wood frame 2-story and basement residence. Number 2, a steel frame office, apartment building, or hotel, usually with brick exterior walls. Number 3, a reinforced building which may have stone or brick exterior walls. Framework in a wood frame structure consists of posts or columns, beams, floor joists, wall studs, and roof rafters. In a wood frame building, blast may cause walls to be blown out or sucked into the building, mostly in large panels. Roofs may be blown clear or sucked down. Debris will be made up of the broken, splintered frame of the structure, as well as exterior sidings and furnishings, water and gas pipes, electric wiring, and that sort of thing. Framework in a steel frame building consists of columns, beams, and floor joists, and, depending on the type of roof, rafters, joists, or trusses. The framework of a reinforced concrete frame structure consists of columns, beams, and a floor or roof made up either of joists to carry the roof or a concrete slab built as an extension of the beam. In steel and concrete frame buildings, damage will be similar to the wood frame building, but in some ways, much worse. For instance, there'll be large amounts of brick and concrete rubble from the collapse of walls. Rescue workers can count on blocked stairways that'll make the job even tougher. So much for the frame-type building. Dan and I also had to know something about the unframed or wall-bearing building. In those, generally, the exterior walls support the weight of roof, floor, and interior partitions. The unframed building, the row house type, usually is constructed of brick or brick and cinder block or hollow tile. Unframed wall-bearing buildings are likely to collapse in a heap when blast hits them. Springing of the bearing walls causes the entire structure to go down in a helter-skelter mess. Masonry walls may turn into piles of rubble interspersed with the fallen floors. We rescue men must realize that walls left standing may be dangerously cracked or bulging. Home sweet homicide. Actually, many buildings are combinations of framed and unframed construction, like a store building to which a theater or bowling alley has been added. The store might be unframed, and the rear part of the building might be a framed steel construction with a long span roof truss like a school. Yes, Dan and I had a good background on construction and building damage. But as I said before, those were other places, other times. Right now, we're inside the basement for the rest of the damage survey. Since you work from the ground up, the basement's first. If there's no basement window or entrance, at least take a careful look at the inside stairs leading to the basement. Dan and I tackle the walls, windows, and doors first, searching for failures, cracks, stresses, or bulges. How about the ceiling? Broken or dislocated joists might show the floor above's unsafe. Dan gives the utilities a quick look-see. That's right, Dan. Sniff around for escaping gas. Keep your eyes open for waterline breaks or broken electrical connections. In the meantime, I'm interested in the bearing walls, columns, or posts in the basement. So far, not too bad. Okay, looks like the basement's rugged but right. Let's go on up. But keep alert on the stairs. No sense fouling up now. 1 down and 2 to go. A ground floor and the second floor. This is where it really can get rough. This is where you can separate the men from the boys. Maybe you've noticed, Dan and I have been taking some pretty stringent precautions. For one thing, we work as a 2-man team. No sane surveyman works alone. Now, in going through just about the same routine as we did in the basement, notice how Dan and I stick close to the walls while we're looking for breaks or stresses. The observations we made outside and in the basement convinced us the walls are likely going to stay the way they are. And we don't move around any more than necessary. We keep going, checking for holes or broken joists in the ceiling or floor. But we don't bounce. The word for today is take it easy, but don't waste time. By now we're both dying for a smoke, but we're sure not going to light matches in here. Not while we're looking for gas and fire hazards. It'd be cooler without the helmets, of course, but only a guy with a wooden head would take a chance on wearing a loose 2x4 for a hat. And in case there's an emergency, like a quick collapse, Dan and I have already spotted the places we're heading for. Under the stairs for me, and Dan will jump for the fireplace. Notice, we don't move furniture or debris more than we have to when we're examining partitions or bearing walls. And when we do, we're darn sure the stuff's not supporting a beam or fallen floor that'll cause additional collapse. And so we work our way up, checking the utilities and the condition of the floor on which there's heavy furniture or rubble. We head upstairs to see how the ceiling or exposed roof framing are holding up. Any danger of further collapse? Well, Dan takes a good look at the chimney and the outside of the roof. Then, that's it, brother. No way to go but down. The building's safe enough if the boys work carefully. I give the sign for the team to come in, stabilize unsafe places, and search for casualties or trapped people. Here they come, but they're not going to find any casualties. Not here. Not in this house, set up specially for training exercises like we've just gone through. But they're going to go through it anyway, practicing all they can toward the day when maybe it'll be the real McCoy. Houses in shambles and trapped people in pain. In those days, this training will really pay off. We know our team will do a first-class rescue job in finding and removing casualties under the best and safest conditions possible. Why? Because Dan and I will have done a fast and thorough damage survey job for our teammates. Yes, we're ready to be the vanguard of a team that conducts missions of mercy in the atomic age.